What up, brawlers? Welcome back to yet another episode of Throwin Hands, episode 111. Breck, how are you doing?
Doing good, Jakob. Ready to talk some MMA. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm ready to talk some too. All right, so we're going to go over a couple things from the prelims. All right, I want to mention this. How the hell is Shannon Dobson still on the roster?
Yeah, it's a good question. To be honest, I tuned out for a lot of these prelims, but I just know that there was a lot from my Twitter feed. A lot of from all the Twitter accounts I follow. It was like violence was the prohibited theme coming out of these prelims. But yeah, that's pretty wild. The strike count.
Yeah,
that's oof.
Casey O'Neal is going to be really good, I think. I think she's with City Kickboxing, if I'm not mistaken. So I think she can be a problem. But let's talk about Nate Landwehr and Julian Arosa real quick. Julian Arosa, we interviewed him on Throwin Hands, one of my favorites personally. Gets Nate Landwehr out of there in 57 seconds. Quite impressive, especially a guy who was cut by the UFC twice and is on a 2-fight win streak in the UFC right now. What were your thoughts on this one if you saw it?
Yeah, like I said, dude, I tuned out most of these prelims. I to be honest, I didn't really watch most of these prelims, so I didn't see these.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
So Eddie Wineland got his butt beat. This was an interesting fight, but let's head over to the main card real quick. Tom Aspinall is going to be something.
Yeah, I did want to get into this. Tom Aspinall, wow, this was an impressive performance. I mean, on the first round, these guys were swinging. This was an awesome first round. I mean, even for Arlovski, he was landing some huge shots too. What a chin on Aspinall in the first. I mean, Arlovski was taking some big shots and landing some bigger shots, and then, I think Aspinall probably realized shouldn't take those shots going into the second. Took him down and it was over. One of the quickest chokes maybe we'll ever see.
Yeah, I think Andre Arlovski knew that, hey, this is locked up. I have no chance of getting out of here. So he probably just, hit the tap. All right. What do you think's next for Arlovski? I think he should just hang it up personally.
Yeah, it's tough for Arlovski. He's definitely closer to retirement than, more fights, but he's definitely got a little fight left in him. It's tough to say. He's definitely a legend of the sport, former heavyweight champion, but he was landing some shots on a really fast young prospect too. So you got to give it to him there.
Yeah, I got to give it to him too. And I agree with you. He does have a little bit of fight left in him, but I think is the fighting worth more than your brain? I mean, his brain's already gone, probably, to be honest. But that's what you got to look at next. But for Tom Aspinall, we'll talk about what's next for him when we get to what is it? Olynyk versus Dawkins. All right. Philip Paz versus Amov. Philip Paz getting a nice win there, winning by majority decision. I thought he won the first two, and then Imama, I can't pronounce his name, won the last one. But great. It was an entertaining fight, I got to say. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. I don't, if you could remind me what round, Imama, I can't even say it either. Ooh.
Imavov. There we go.
He had him hurt. Was it the second round?
I think it was the end of the third round.
End of the third round? So, I mean, if it was a 5-round fight, maybe Imavov, gets the finish in the fourth. But he couldn't capitalize, and Hawes was really good on the feet throughout the fight, and won a decisive victory.
Yeah, I'm impressed by Philip Hawes, coming in the UFC, 2-fight win streak now. For Amov, I think he's a bright prospect. Give him somebody out of the Contender Series so he can get a win. Again, what do you have to say?
Yeah, it was a good showing by both guys. Hawes looked good and Amov looked good. Both look good on the feet, and we'd like to see maybe better on the ground from Amov with the takedowns of Hawes, the 4 there that you're showing, but this was an entertaining fight to watch.
And then for Philip Hawes, I'm not saying top 15 yet, but I would say somebody who just dropped out of the top 15. I don't really know the rankings, obviously, who was in top 15, but I think that's a pretty good start for Philippos because I think he does have potential. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to give him a top 15 right away, but maybe someone that just dropped out of the top 15, or maybe like the 15 or 14, somebody in that range. A step up in competition would definitely be welcomed for Philippos.
For sure, because he seems like he's been on a roll as of late. All right. To, I think, the most surprising outcome of the night, in my opinion, Alexei Oleinik caught the hands of Chris Daukaus real quick. Chris Daukaus landing 34 significant strikes on Saturday night against the man that just finished his 75th pro bout in Alexei Oleinik. Herb Dean with the late stoppage, I guess. But Chris Daukaus is something else. And I think he's someone to watch out for in this division. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it was like the night of the young heavyweight prospects, the young fast heavyweight prospect. What I took away from it was Daukaus's hand speed, and you just got to wonder. Oleinik's last fight was against Lewis, I believe, right?
Yeah,
that flying knee. You just wonder if Oleinik, maybe took a lot of damage from that, and sometimes you're never the same. And he's been in like 100 fights. His record is pretty insane. I mean, he really just never even got started in the fight. I mean, Daukaus just poured it on him, and it was just. There was a moment they were pointing in the post show where it was where I wrote down like this was another Herb Dean questionable moment where it was like Oleinik was like looking at Herb Dean after like the 10th punch Daukaus landed, like, can you stop it? But he was like, no, I'll just go out on my shield. And it was like, Herb, come on. And then like he threw like another 20 punches and then they stopped it. It was like, it got a little ugly there.
It seems like Herb Dean's been off lately. I texted that in the group.
A little bit. Like, he's a really great ref. Like, he's one of the best. But like, it seems some weird decisions lately.
Yeah, and like toward the end of the year, like when I forget who's on the ground, when Dan Hardy yelled "Stop the fight," I didn't necessarily agree with what Hardy said, but it seemed like after that, it kind of just set a trend of he has like one bad thing every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it does. I didn't really agree with Hardy in that situation. It really wasn't his spot to call him out like that. But he was a former fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dan Hardy, but he's coming back apparently to fight what's his face, Matt Brown. So we'll see what happens there. All right, what do you think's next for Oleinik?
I don't know. It's an interesting question. It's kind of like the Arlovski route we were just talking about. If you keep giving, I just want to go back 1 second, just like to talk about this fight for
yeah.
Oleinik, were you a little surprised he didn't try to take this to the ground?
He had apparently one takedown attempt.
One takedown attempt. But I was a little stunned by that. Like, the man who has what's his the
46 submissions, I think.
Yeah, what's the choke he does? The
Ezekiel choke?
Yeah, the Ezekiel choke. He's got like 30 of those or something.
12. 12.
Yeah, 12. It's ridiculous. I was like, so we're gonna see an Ezekiel choke. But I guess they're gonna keep letting him fight, and I don't know if they keep feeding him to young guys like a Chris Daukaus or a Tom Aspinall, it's gonna get ugly here quick. So like, if he fights an older heavyweight, sure, but like, yeah, pull up like
Junior Dos Santos, like,
yeah, but like I would think JDS just knocks him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would pick Walt Harris. I think Walt Harris knocks him out. I think.
Yeah, Pavlovich, Tabura, Ivanov. I mean,
all those guys are younger, faster. It's like
Greg Hardy. That's the fight to make. Greg Hardy versus Alexei Oleinik.
Maybe Greg Hardy needs a fight, but then that could be a terrible fight for Greg Hardy because we've seen when he gets to the ground, he's got like zero grappling experience
or cardio for that matter.
Try to pull out an inhaler mid-fight. Yeah, so I don't know what to do with Oleinik.
And so we're going to talk about Chris Daukaus and Aspinall right now. Obviously they're both going to get numbers after this. I think. I don't see
You
their.
think both? I don't know about both.
Who do you think will get the number?
I think Aspinall. I think Dawkins maybe is right outside. I think Aspinall gets into that 14, 15.
Well, Bisping thinks that Dawkins could get 10.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he beat number 10. So
Gotcha.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they both get numbers, but I don't think the matchmakers would want to pit them up against each other. So I think a great fight for Aspinall would be Walt Harris.
Yeah, that would be a good fight for him.
And then I don't know about Dawkins. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, it does make sense to both give numbers, but I would say like 10 through 15. I don't think they deserve top 10 rankings right away. But yeah, it's good for the heavyweight division to get some young guys in there, just because it's getting pretty old pretty quick.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. But yeah, I mean, these two guys are a hot take. This is a little early, but I think we got Ngannou, Blaydes, Rosenstruik, Gane, and Dawkins and Aspinall as the future of the division.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Volkov, if he stays the way he does, I think he could be up there too. All right, to the co-main event. No, not the co-main. Charles Rosa versus Darrick Minner. Darrick Minner having significant control time in this fight. I mean, Charles Rosa was trying to throw up every submission in the book from the bottom, triangles, arm bars. He tried like 3 arm bars and some weird Kimuras too, but Darrick Minner just controlled this fight from start to finish, landing 4 or 5 takedowns and landing over double the strikes. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, he couldn't get the leverage to, put the pressure to get the Kimura. Like, he just kept trying to go for the Kimura, and it was like, you're just not going to get it, dude. You just see that so many times where like fighters are going for the Kimura from the bottom, and you're like, dude, you got to get some leverage there to put some pressure. Like, the fighter could just sit there all day. You know what I mean? Like, where they just sit there and just like hold it. Like, okay, yeah, you have my arm, but like you're not doing anything with it. But this fight was really, really like you're watching it, and then like you're like, oh, maybe Rosa gets back up on his feet, or it's like, oh nope, Minner takes him down, domination, or back on the feet, strikes, take that. You know what I mean? Like, it was complete and utter domination all the way through.
Yeah, it was pretty rough to watch. So for Rosa, it's tough. It's tough telling what's next for him because he hasn't been too successful at all in the UFC, really. He lost to Bryce Mitchell. I think he lost to Aguilar, or did he beat Aguilar? Let me see. Ivers. Oh, he beat Aguilar. That's right. And then he just lost this weekend, and he's lost many other fights in the UFC. So I think they should just feed him to a young prospect and just see what happens. What?
How old is Rosa?
He's like 34.
34? He's not that old.
Yeah, he's not that old, but like, I don't see his ceiling being that high.
Maybe not, but 34 is not 13-5. He's not a terrible fighter.
I mean, he's not a terrible fighter, but let's talk about Darrick Minner. I think he deserves somebody in the top 15 with that performance. I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, I agree. Like, a step up in competition, definitely. Because just complete and utter domination. Like I said, you're watching this fight, and you're like, you never thought for a second that Rosa was going to do anything. Like, on the feet, you're like, this is nothing. No, Rosa poses no threat. And then on the ground, Minner, like, every submission attempt, you're like, I don't see Minner getting submitted here.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was brutal to watch. So I think who's fighting Dan Ige? Gavin Tucker. I think the loser of that fight,
Canadian, right? Gavin Tucker?
Yeah, Gavin. What'd you say?
Canadian Gavin Tucker.
Yeah,
right?
Canadian. How about it?
That's an awesome fight.
Someone's getting choked out, like Daniel said. But yeah, I think that's
that fight. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, Ketlin Vieira versus Yana Kunitskaya. This was, if you thought the last fight was domination, this was domination. Kunitskaya made it boring, and she absolutely swallowed Vieira. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Vieira had a lot of the control time with the takedowns, but she didn't really do a lot with the control time. She's just kind of stayed in guard the whole time, and that's just let Kunitska really just mount a comeback, just mount offense and just throw strikes from either the bottom or the top. And then when she reversed and then got on top, I mean, you saw that later rounds, like she was throwing elbows. Like those elbows were ridiculous in the end there.
Yeah.
She opened her up and it was ugly there at the end. And I know like the takedowns and the control time were for Vieira, and a lot of people thought maybe Vieira won the fight, but I mean, just on the damage alone, I think you had to give it to Kunitska, and it was I don't believe in control time wins you a fight if you don't do much with the control time. If you look at the strikes landed and you look at 215 to 35, I see the winner of the fight is Kunitska.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Control time does not necessitate winning the fight. I mean, this is like a weird example, but when George St. Pierre was mounting Bisping was doing more work up from the bottom than GSP was from top. So, I mean, GSP obviously choked him out, but
yeah.
But you all get my point. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean you're dominating the fight, because Bisping was slicing up GSP. All right. I don't know what's next for Ketlen Vieira, because it seems like she's hit her ceiling kind of. And
this was a good this was good for the division though. Like it
opened it up a bit.
Opened it up a little bit, yeah.
And I think the fight to make would be Vieira versus Sarah McMahon or Renault. I think that's a good fight to make. And then we have Kunitska. I think she maybe even Durandamy. Screw it. Why not?
I don't know if she goes up to fights number one. I think Durandamy I think Holm fights Durandamy, but
Holm's fighting Pena in May.
Well, yes, but I'm saying I don't think Kunitska is going to get the number one contender shot right away.
Yeah, that's true. But
I think you're right that 6 drops down to fight like an 8 or 9. But I think Kunitska will get a jump up in competition and fight,
Lad.
Yeah, maybe Lad or Juliana Pena. But yeah, I don't see her fighting Durandamy. I think Durandamy waits for Nunes or the winner of Holm
Pena.
And then the winner of Holm Pena gets Nunes.
I don't get why.
It's crazy. Nunes just has a control over so many two divisions.
I don't get how Holm and Durandamy wasn't the fight to make.
Yeah, it's a little weird now looking at it.
Like, that was the fight to make.
Yeah, because now Durandamy's a little bit on the sideline. Speaking
of Nunes, real quick, does the fight against Vegan Anderson get out of the first round?
I think so. I think the Anderson camp will probably, have a defensive. Well, they better have a defensive game plan. I think maybe they'll try to mix in some wrestling, and I think it'll probably get to the second round. I still think Nunes probably wins by KO, but probably.
All right, to the main event of the evening, Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes. Derek Lewis showing absolutely no footwork in this fight, nor does he ever show footwork. And in the first round, he's just getting pressured. And then second round, Blaydes shoots for a takedown, right uppercut to the chin. And according to Derek, and then Lewis falls with 2 DX chops. And according to Derek Lewis, it was Herbs Dean's fault, which I agree with him. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was an interesting fight because Derek Lewis was getting absolutely picked apart on the feet. Leg kicks, his legs were getting destroyed by Derek Lewis. The jab was working well. Blaydes had him hurt a couple of times. I mean, not really hurt, but he had him stung a couple of times. And he shot in once for a takedown and got stuffed. And I was like, I don't think Lewis hit him once. And Blaydes was like, okay, I respect your power. And I was like, if we just keep seeing this, like Lewis might get finished here. And then beginning of the second, you're like maybe more of the same. Nope. Takedown attempt, uppercut, one of the most vicious KOs you ever see. murder on live television. They should have arrested him on the spot, thrown him in jail for throwing the key away. It was brutal.
It was brutal. And Lewis, you got to respect Lewis, man. I mean, this guy looks like he's going to lose every single fight.
And just knocks everybody out.
Like, he should have lost that Volkov fight. Like, there was no way he should have won that fight. But with his power, it's just the ultimate eraser.
He beat Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Think about that. He beat Francis Ngannou. And you tell people that, they're like, what? Yeah, he beat Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? Like,
just don't show him the film.
Just don't show him what happened. But it's crazy. The most knockouts in heavyweight history. And it's like, this fight hurt every like hardcore MMA fan. Like Curtis Blaydes, like mixing in takedowns, like good striking. Derek Lewis, just like uppercut, go burr. You know, like just like.
Oh, see, I've watched multiple Derek Lewis fights, and he has not done any footwork whatsoever. He just stands there and he waits.
I mean, he is actually great at playing possum and like drawing people in. He might be like one of the best ever. Why don't more fighters take a page out of the Derek Lewis playbook, you know?
Like that fight against JDS when he got hit in the belly, and then he just goes boom, overhand right to JDS. I mean, he wasn't actually kind of hurt.
Wasn't it Ben Rothwell that fight?
No, it was JDS.
Was it JDS? I thought
it
was Ben Rothwell. Oh,
but it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, it's just he's so awesome to watch, and he's so funny afterwards too.
We'll talk about what he said after, but let's talk about what's next for Curtis Blaydes. I don't know. I think he has to wait.
I mean, this was his best shot at getting. I don't think this was going to get him a title shot with a win, but he was going to get a number one contender shot if he won. Like, don't you think if he won, he would have got the winner of Rosenstrike Gain? He probably would have got Rosenstrike Gain winner.
Yeah.
And then now I think he drops down to like 7-8 range, right? Because you got to think Volkov, Lewis, winner of Rosenstrike Gain, like they all move up. Like Overeem, all those guys that lost move down. So
yeah.
And you got to think too, like he's like winner, loser of Stipe Ngannou. The guy who loses immediately goes to the number one. So we got John Jones coming into the mix quite soon. So this was Curtis Blaydes, like closest. He's not going to get a title shot for a very long time after this.
Yeah, and some people are saying after his next fight he should just go to Bellator, but I'm like, no, he could be a champion in this division. I think there's no doubt in my mind.
He's got to play. He's still decently young for a heavyweight.
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not. What did they say? Like 35 is like your heavyweight prime. He should just wait it. Try to like wait out the division and just get a win streak against people in the division and build up some wins and then start, not like all the like lower level guys, like, don't beat up on 13 through 15, but like, beat some guys 6 through 10 and start to fight the top guys again. It's just, I hope he takes some time off after this because those last two shots, that's
brain damage.
Yeah, it's just that you don't want him to get in there too quick and risk, serious injury like later in life.
Did you see the guy who called his wife to troll him?
Oh, yeah.
That's messed up.
I was going to say, like, that's messed up. And that guy, like...
I want to see Blaydes fight him. I'd pay money for that.
They should like, bring back... remember that show, like, Beat Down Bully? Where they would have, like, somebody, like, and they're, like, a bully, and then they would bring, like, an MMA fighter.
Oh, I never saw that show.
Oh, it was great. And they had...
I'll look it up.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? Mayhem Miller. Remember Mayhem Miller?
Kind of.
Yeah, they would bring in like a person and somebody that would bully them from like their like middle school, and like when they were older, and they would throw the bully into the ring with like a MMA fighter, and the MMA fighter would just ragdoll them. it's like they should have that.
We'll talk about something like that after. But
Okay.
for Derek Lewis, he wants to clap Overeem's cheeks. I think that's just murder on Lewis's part, because I think Overeem should just hang him up. What do you think?
No comment on that. Previous.
Get a hold of yourself, Breck.
I'm sorry. I can't believe he's the funniest person in the UFC. I don't know why you would want to fight Overeem. I mean,
he says he wants to stay active, and it's an easy paycheck, I think.
I would fear for Overeem after his last fight too. Just the way Volkov picked him apart on the feet, and like the way like Derek Lewis, like Blaydes is a better wrestler than Alistair Overeem is, and Derek Lewis handled Curtis Blaydes pretty easily. Like not you know what I mean? Like
I mean, Derek Lewis is an all-American wrestler. Come on,
give it them wrestlers, boy. But I mean, it's pretty interesting because if he got a win over Overeem, it's interesting because Derek Lewis, you could argue he should like fight for the title soon.
He also only wants a 3-round fight next, so he recognizes that he's not getting the next title shot.
I know, but like he deserves to be up there. I know people like probably laugh at that, but like
I think he should wait.
He probably he should wait. But like. Yeah, that fight makes sense. Get a win over Overeem, and then
easy paycheck.
Fight the winner of maybe fight Gain Rosenstrike winner.
Yeah.
Then after if you somehow won that fight, you would fight for the title.
Yeah.
Like what other fighter in the UFC wins and they're like, "Do you want to fight for the title?" And he's like, "I'm good." No other fighter, not a single other fighter on the roster would be like, "I don't really care about the title."
But you know who will? Derek Lewis. But anyway, so who's the funniest MMA fighter in your opinion?
We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Darren Till is up there. Darren Till. I mean, funny. Mike Perry's up there.
Did you see the conversation with him and Darren Till?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mike Perry might be more fun to like laugh at, but like
yeah, you don't laugh with Mike Perry. You laugh at Mike Perry.
Sometimes I laugh with Mike Perry just because like the things he says are so ludicrous. But I don't know. Lewis is probably up there. His Instagram page is one of the greatest follows of all time. It's a meme page. It's great.
He's okay.
He's okay. He posts like horrific videos every day of people getting really injured. He just writes, "He's okay." It's unbelievable.
And then he posted one of him and his son riding on his 4-wheeler into the stairs. We're okay.
Yeah, we're okay. Who does that? Nobody. But
so I figured this out. Mike Perry and Darren Till are fighting on the same card April 10th. If Perry's opponent misses weight and Till's opponent misses weight, we get the fight of the year.
What are the chances of both fighters missing weight, though?
We'll see what the MMA gods dictate.
Yeah. Maybe down the line, if Mike Perry wins, maybe down the line they could fight.
Yeah, that's true. But he's training with Colby Covington now.
Who, Mike Perry?
Yeah.
It's not surprising. They're kind of in the same,
They're one and the same.
One and the same.
It's also Colby Covington's birthday today. Happy birthday, I guess. I mean, just gotta get that out there a little bit. But so speaking of bullies picking on one another, there's this video of an Oklahoma wide receiver picking on an MMA fighter of 10 years. The Oklahoma wide receivers guy shoves him, but the MMA guy wipes his nose, looks at it, nods his head, and throws a 4-piece combo on the guy and throws him to the ground. And now the Oklahoma wide receiver almost lost his eye, but he got eye surgery. What were your thoughts on that fight, Breck?
Well, I saw some coverage of this, and it was Oklahoma football Twitter accounts like, this is a disgrace. This happened to our player assaulted and stuff. And then it was like, maybe it was like a Texas reporter or something put out like, did you know that there's video? And then they released the video, and it was like, oh wow. And it's like, you see the guy has cowboy boots on, and then he has cauliflower ear. You're like, cauliflower ear, not a great idea to pick a fight with somebody with cauliflower ear. And it's like, when like, and the guys were being complete assholes too. It's like, who knows what led up to all that? But like the guys that they like were picking on, like, we're just kind of just standing there. And then like they turned, the guy who eventually took him down was just turned to his buddy and was like, yeah, let's do this. And you're right. He hit him with like, it
was a slap, a right hook, a left straight to the chest, and then another right hook.
It was unbelievable. A 4-piece combo for the ages. They should teach it in like boxing classes. It was unbelievable. It should be a new move. It should be a move in MMA. They should name it something. It was unbelievable.
I loved how he slapped him in the face with the first right hand that he threw.
It is a serious situation. Like, it's good that he didn't lose his eye and everything, but it's hard to defend the Oklahoma football players when you kind of started it. And it's like, when you pick on people with MMA, I saw headlines like trains UFC. It's like, that's the perfect headline, trains UFC. Like when you fight somebody with grappling experience, you're done. And do you see him trying to throw like uppercuts while getting like guillotined, like getting like rear naked choked?
Yeah.
Like choking up from behind. He's like trying to throw like punches. Like, oh bro, that was bad too. His buddy got like slammed into like the
concrete wall and got knocked out. Just
out. Yeah.
Judo thrown.
Yeah,
and like the lawyer, like I'm trying to see what the lawyer said. The lawyer of the Oklahoma football player said he was trying to de-escalate the situation, but unfortunately, it wasn't de-escalated despite his best efforts, and he became the victim of this vicious assault you have just seen.
Oh my God, these people! It's okay. You know what?
It's the lawyer. He's supposed to do that.
I understand. Good. Good. I'm glad those dudes whipped them up. It's like rule number one, if you're gonna fight somebody, look at their ears first. Just rule number one, okay? If you see the cauliflower ear, probably not a good idea. They could have like, those guys were significantly smaller than them too, and they destroy them. Like, weight doesn't matter with wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I know a kid that could beat up so many kids, and he's so much smaller, but he wrestled his whole life and is so strong. It's like, when you wrestle for your whole life, it's like, you just know like how to take people down. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
I just love how he threw the 4-piece combo, threw him to the ground, and took his back within 10 seconds.
Within 10 seconds. Yeah. Oh, unbelievable transition.
And I loved how at the beginning he wiped his nose with just looked at the blood and just then unleashed the 4-piece combo, took his back, and then within another 2 seconds he was choking him out.
This viral moment should give him an amateur fight somewhere. Like this, I hope this gets him like an amateur fight,
Well, he's probably gonna go to Bellator after this, let's be honest.
Yeah, Scott Coke was already signing paperwork this morning.
But yeah, it was just, and people were saying, oh, LeBron James would destroy Colby Covington. I'm like, no, absolutely not. That fight would be over within 20 seconds.
Yeah, probably.
The Travis Fulton was indicted on child pornography charges. Legendary, the most fights in MMA history.
Yeah, that's
quite the charge.
Don't know where to go with that one.
I don't know where to go with that one either, but dude needs help. What else was I going to mention? Oh my gosh. Travis Fulton is 255-54.
Yeah, well, that's probably some brain damage there.
Yeah, I would expect that, to be honest. What else? Oh, and he also has 75 pro boxing matches. I mean, you got a terrible guy, but that's Nuts. What else
Dude,
is there to talk about?
how about the Oscar Valdez KO on junior box top rank?
Oh my gosh. I was watching that fight, and in the 5th round, he was just piecing him up. And the ref could have
Yeah,
stopped the
they
fight,
should
to be
stop. They
honest.
should have stopped it. Yeah.
And then just nasty left to the temple, and it was over.
Oof.
All right. Did you know that TJ Dillashaw is older than Jose Aldo?
Yeah, I did know that.
And
people are amazed that Jose Aldo is only like 34.
yeah, I'm amazed. I mean, he's been around forever, probably. And then Dillashaw wants to go straight for the belt and skip the line.
Which I don't think is going to happen based off of Sandhagen's performance.
No, it won't. And also, he cheated, so they shouldn't give him the shot.
No, he cheated. Yeah, exactly. But like, you can't. I saw a lot of the discussion about this recently. It's like you can't deny too. Like TJ Dillashaw did cheat and stuff, but like he also technically is like a good fight. You know what I mean? Like technically as a striker,
Yeah,
he's a pretty good fighter. Like
he's incredible.
You can't be bad at fighting and steroids make you good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to be somewhat good to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you can't be like a chump and then just take steroids and all of a sudden you win a belt.
Yeah, I hate
You
how
have to be
people.
good.
Yeah, I hate how people are like, oh, the only reason John Jones was good is because he took steroids. I'm like, he didn't really take steroids, but like the reason he was bad, like not bad toward the end of his light heavyweight career. He wasn't as dominant because it just wasn't exciting for him. Like, I'd be more excited to fight who than I would Dominic Reyes. You know, like, let's be honest here. What else is there? There's been a lot over the past few days. Oh, Ahmed Azaitar is not being cut by the UFC.
Dude, that is one of the crazier stories ever in the UFC. What is going on? What was in the bag? What was in the bag?
That's why I want to know.
The cure to COVID. What was in the bag? What was in the bag?
the cure to COVID.
Dana White, like, does he have like pictures of Dana White that can never be released? Like, does he have black? Like, what was in the bag?
Dana White looking for a fight.
It's
Unreleased.
very confusing. Like the day it happened, they're like, he's gone and shit. Like, how did they 2 months later? Like, there's just like, yeah, we didn't cut him. Very, very confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta say,
he's a good fighter though.
Azaitar is amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe they looked and they're like, we need this fighter. You know?
I mean, the dude has bricks for hands.
That's the thing. Maybe they looked and they're like, we need this fighter on the roster.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to know what's in the bag. They need to release what was in the bag.
Yeah,
I hope it's like the most, like, I hope it's like his favorite like dish or something that they can't get like in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope it's something so like,
or like unreleased Ultimate Fighter VHS tapes.
yeah, like something so like ridiculously requested by him. They're like, I have to have it. Like,
I need the Dean Thomas and Michael Bisping files. But yeah. Oh, Paige Van Zant's coming back this summer for Bare Knuckle.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, she didn't do terrible in her last Knuckle Mania.
That was I watched the whole thing. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was a little bit of like, you know, it was a little bit crazy. It had a little bit of like a WWE feel to it, you know what I mean? Like the build up to it.
Knuckle up.
Knuckle up.
It was just weird.
I mean, they gotta sell themselves some way. So it felt like rough and rowdy a little bit, but
yeah. It didn't. It was weird just hearing Dan Miragliotta say "knuckle up" instead of "fight."
I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of the bare knuckle boxing though. It's, you know, it's old school.
It is old school. Oh, Chris Leben, man, I got to give it to him.
Yeah, retired, right?
Yeah, he wants Jake Paul, and I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. Give it to him.
Just feed him to the beast that is Chris Leben. Dang, what else is there? Oh, we never talked about this. I want to talk about Umar Nurmagomedov, Habib's cousin. Oh my gosh. I mean, this was a few weeks ago, but he's so good.
Oh yeah, and this was when Khabib like translated for him too, right after the
Yeah.
fight. Yeah, I mean the whole Dagestani crew is pretty great. If you look at the records of fighters from Dagestan, there's like I don't remember exactly what the number is, but it's ridiculous. They win it like at 8, like they win it like a 75% clip or so. It's
The clip's
incredible.
nuts.
Like they're like I want to say their total record between like that claims fighters from Dagestan, like say there's like 100 fighters that fight out of Dagestan or something, their record is like 350 and like 40 or something like that. It's ridiculous. Just built different over there. Literally, like the definition of built different is Dagestan.
Yeah. Dagestan. We are built different.
Literally.
I loved how Khabib said, like Umar was trying to do the thing in English. He goes, "You're not ready for English yet."
I love the broken English that Khabib talks. It's so funny. Like when him and DC talk in the broken English. You ever notice how DC talks in like broken Russian English when he talks to Khabib?
Yeah.
He goes into that broken. He's like, brother. It's so funny when him and DC talk. It's the best.
Number one. Dana White need it's so funny to watch, but I'm not the one to laugh because I can't speak a second language.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, who's Danielle Wolf? Felicia Spencer is fighting this woman named Danielle Wolf in a featherweight bout.
Oh, let me look.
She's 1-0.
Did she recently just sign?
Oh, I think I know what she is. She's a boxer, and this is going to be
Felicia Spencer's. No.
Yeah, she won her first fight on the Contender Series, and yeah, that's kind of interesting, I guess. But I expect Spencer just to take her to the ground and sub her. Let's be honest here. She's interesting. Yeah. She's welterweight, Olympic boxer, national champion in boxing. Yeah, she's a solid boxer, but I think she might get absolutely destroyed by Felicia Spencer.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. They're not. I don't know. I believe they're both signed to PFL. Clarissa Shields and
oh yeah,
what's the other one?
Kayla Harrison.
Kayla Harrison. They're both signed with PFL, right?
Yeah, Kayla Harrison. She's like Ronda Rousey in the sense that she's so good at one specific skill set that she could just dominate.
But like everybody from when they signed to PFL is like everybody hopes they like dominate PFL. They fight in PFL, and then the UFC poaches them, signs them. Then they have that fight in the UFC like 5 years down the line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. All right, that's all I got for the episode. Do you have anything else?
Nothing else. I'm looking. I couldn't find any news, fight news.
Yeah, we kind of just covered it. All right, that'll do it for us here, guys. We'll see you later.